Good morning, Facebook. After some months, weeks, days of pondering, I decided that I was going to start doing this because it's really been on my spirit, it's been on my heart, and it's been on my mind. And after yesterday, talking with a friend that I've known for a while and watching their reaction to what the physical reaction of all the stress and everything that I'm going through, I think this is appropriate and maybe the forum to get the word out. This is for all the warriors and people who suffer from PTSD and really don't think that they're getting the support that they need through programs, through organizations, through family, through friends. So I think once, maybe twice a week, I'm going to do this. Just depends on the response that I get. So this morning I'm going to talk about 5 points. This has been heavy on my heart. So I had to lay still last night and said a prayer before I went to sleep. I woke up, said a prayer this morning. And I had a message from the same friend that I spoke with yesterday. And it moved me to do this so people can understand. When you have PTSD and other issues from being deployed multiply, nobody really understands, because PTSD is one of those things that you don't necessarily, people can see the wounds and how it affects you. So they think because you joke or you laugh and that you're joyful when you're around people that you're okay. It's not necessarily the fact. The fact is that you carry a burden that no one else truly understands. So for those of you who suffer from it, you understand what I'm saying. So here are a few things that I thought about this morning that I'd like to share to you. And just know that you're not alone. I'm doing this because you're not alone. And with 22 veterans killing themselves daily, I think this really needs to get out there. I think that the system is overwhelmed. The providers are overwhelmed. The soldiers and sailors and Marines and airmen are overwhelmed. And people really need to know this. First thing that you have to do is look in the mirror and understand you have to have a relationship with God. I don't care if you're atheist, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, you have to have a spiritual relationship with God. And you may have it and don't even know that you have it, and that you're in his favor and don't know you're in his favor. You have to have that relationship. And you have to understand that he loves you, and you have to trust that relationship. We go through trials and we go through tribulations, but those trials and tribulations that we go through are just lessons in life for us to understand and appreciate the things that he has prepared for us. Okay? I ain't gonna preach, but I gotta get this message out. It's been on my spirit, and it's in my heart, and we all go through what we're going through. And again, this is to let you know you're not alone. And if you know somebody with PTSD, send this to them, even if they're not my friend. The second thing, after love God and have a relationship with God, you gotta be able to look in the mirror and love yourself. This is the hardest part about everything, because no matter what you do for other people, no matter how you feel, you can give all day long. That's not going to make anybody love you. You have to love yourself. And loving yourself means accepting all those things, transgressions, betrayals, fights, arguments, all those things that you've done to other people. Being okay that's in the past. I have an acronym for past actions, shitty times. Leave it in the past. It's water under the bridge. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm lucky in my life that I've had people who've mentored me, who've guided me in the direction, through the grace of God, guided me through the direction, and got me where I'm supposed to be. Statistically, I'm supposed to be dead in a penitentiary or in jail, but I'm not. And I've had to learn, and some days I'm not perfect. And understand that you're not perfect. And I'll get to that in the fourth point, or maybe the fifth point. We'll see how many points I really get. I only have 5 this morning. You have to teach people about PTSD, because there are a lot of non-believers, and I'll get to that too. But when you love yourself, what's up, Stephanie? When you love yourself, then everything else that you're trying to do, people can't love you if you don't love yourself. And it's like building a house. If I build a house on swamp and I build a house on quicksand, it's going to fall. But if I love myself and I appreciate who I am with my faults and my imperfections, because the only perfect being I ever known that was on this planet was Jesus himself, and we know what happened to him. You have to understand that you are the base and foundation for everything that's going to go on in your life. And that building from that foundation, you can overcome everything with the first two things that I previously said prior to this. Love God, have a relationship with him, and love yourself. Because in loving yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone says, what anyone does, what anyone thinks. Who gives a dang? Okay? Now, in loving yourself, when you look in the mirror, you're going to see those imperfections. You're not going to see what other people see. I had to realize that. All our lives, we walk around and try to live our lives for everybody else but ourselves. We try to impress everyone and everything but ourselves. Love yourself. And it's not being selfish. It's not being narcissistic. You've paid the sacrifice. And now that you've paid the sacrifice, guess what? Love yourself, award yourself, and you know what? And it's time to be about yourself. Because until you get yourself together, you can't equitably share that with the person that you love. Your family, your friends, none of that. Now, my third point. This is a hard one too. Love your family. And understand when you put your priorities of loving God, loving yourself, when you don't have anybody, you have your family. And guess what, people? We don't always like our family. You got the ones you like, you got the ones you love, and you got the ones that's just family. You know the ones I'm talking about. But they don't determine, dictate, or even have the ability to control your destiny and your calling. When loving your family, your significant other, and your children, especially your children, we've gotten to a point in society that we throw away our old people and we let TV raise our young people. We are truly lost. But I refuse on everything that I love, especially my children, to allow that to happen. When you love your children and you respect your elders, after loving God and loving yourself, you can reciprocate something that's within you that can probably bring them up and bring yourself up. Having PTSD is a crazy thing because you run through a gamut of emotions. You either really hot, you quick to come off the trigger, you sometimes shut down, emotionally unavailable, short-term memory. People tell me their name 5 minutes later, I can't remember their name. You just have to really understand that this thing you're going through, you can't go through it without support. And all you warriors out there, if you need support or somebody to talk to, call me. There ain't much I ain't been through. I've done 32 years in the military. I've seen it all. Institutional racism, prejudice, new administrative bullying. And what the government and the military hasn't understand is that doesn't make a person better with PTSD. You're contributing to the factor, but yet you don't want to treat them. I'll get to that in another live broadcast later. In loving your family, you have to remember that we come from and we are a people that we need other people. We were not put on this planet to be here alone. If that's the case, we would all be planarians. We would self-multiply and there'd be a whole bunch of just us running around. We all need someone in our lives. And they don't have to call you every day. Listen, my best friends, I probably talk to them once every 3 months, but I know they my best friends. They don't have to be in my face every day. And if they're in your face every day, guess what? That probably ain't your best friend or somebody. I just recently had a situation. I thought someone was truly my friend. They was talking trash about me, and I was taking care of them and helping them. So know that your best friends are those people that you don't call every day, but when you call, They bring a spiritual joy in your life and are pleasant to be around. The devil can't hide who his minions are because they're going to show you their true self through their deeds and through their actions, not through their words. Just remember that. Again, I ain't going to preach this morning, but this has been heavy on my heart. I've had blood pressure up to 207 over 197, 207 over 97. And it's the stress and the emotional baggage that I've allowed to come into my life that let me know that I could stroke out and die. And those people who didn't care, they ain't gonna never care. And they'll talk about you. They'll lie about you. But you know what? If you love yourself, none of that matters. This next part. Choose your friends wisely. I've been like this most of my life. I failed a few times, but I won't fail again. Understand that everybody ain't your damn friend. Some people are associates. Some people are doggone backstabbing, conniving. I'm going to keep this clean because I'm working on myself. And guys, if you have PTSD every day, your only mission in life is to get better and to work on you by loving God and loving yourself. Again, that's not selfish or narcissistic. What it is that if you love yourself, you have a foundation and a base that you can be able to reach out to others and that they can understand because you're working from a center. If you don't have a center, you can't do anything. Okay? I'm so tired of people not understanding and not getting this. Everybody from caregivers. Look, I walked into the WTB at Fort Belvoir and was basically called out as a malingerer after 4 combat deployments and me wanting to twist folks' heads off because of ignorance. But nobody got it. I'll get to that before at the summation of all this. When choosing your friends wisely, you'll know who these people are supposed to be your friend. Because when you see them, that depression that you have, that anger that you have, you won't have it. It'll go away, and that thing that eats at you, that makes you angry, that makes you upset, that thing, when they're around you, you don't think about it. And they're not just female, males. Look, I got people who are older, 80s, 78s. I've ran into people who I've met and their spirit was just so positive that it embraced you. And you have to believe that there are some people that are good in this negative world. Because when you listen to people like Trump the Chump, you would think this world is the most jacked up place it is. And it could be. But the only people can change it is us. And you start that by loving yourself. Again, loving yourself. For those of you that wake up this morning and you have those hidden scars of depression and PTSD, understand that the friend ain't the person that's smiling in your face every day. The friend is that person that picks up the phone. Heck, you maybe ain't talked to them in 20 years. I got some. But when I hear from them, I automatically go to the good times that I had with these guys and remember the loyalty. I started out in the Marine Corps, and all my Marine buddies on here, y'all know we ain't seen each other in 20 years. But when I talked to y'all, it was like it was yesterday. And we knew back then who our friends were, who had my left and my right. And those are those devil dogs that were not worth a grain of salt. We didn't associate with them. When you have issues that are within your head, get help. And help don't mean you got to go lay on somebody's couch. Go reach out to someone who may understand because they have the same thing. If you knew, let me tell you, when you're a veteran, it ain't hard to find another veteran that's experienced some of the things that you have experienced. The best therapy that you could ever have that I found And this is not 100% for anybody. It's to be able to pay it forward. So it's not a contradiction of loving yourself, but when you pay it forward and you're able to go out and reach someone and touch someone, you'll see in their face and in their, you'll feel it in their energy that you've given them something from yourself and you don't expect anything in return. That's paying it forward. I found in my life that I've hurt a lot of people. A lot of people have hurt me. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it wrong. But it's part of that past action, shitty times. When you grow emotionally, spiritually, and you understand because now you're grown that you are responsible for what you share in society, what you give to your family, and what you teach your children. And let me say that real slow. Teach your children, because it ain't society's responsibility to raise our kids. It's our responsibility. And when society think they can step in and raise your kids, give them your damn kids, because it's our responsibility. Choose your friends wisely. For those of you that are my friends, my true friends, and those janky ass people who call themselves my friends, but know you full of the devil, you know who you are. I can't fix that. Now, warriors, those of you who are suffering through any kind of mental anguish, be it PTSD, depression, anxiety, I'm going to help you out this morning. The hardest thing we've already discussed is looking in the mirror and loving yourself after you've realized that you have to accept God in your life, and through him all things are possible. I don't care if you call him Allah, Yahweh, God, the Most High. There's many names, but trust me, it's all God. We gave him titles. The fifth point that I'm going to talk about is really, really important too. There's probably about 100 points, but I'm only going to go over 5 this morning. Expectation management. Expectation management. Expectation management means this, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. I deal with it every day. We have the problem, but we expect everybody else to understand how that problem functions. My whole purpose this morning is for people to understand, and I guess my purpose is to touch those who don't think that no one understands, and for people to realize that this exists. People aren't malignant. And okay, let me say this too. Everybody with PTSD don't want to kill every damn body. Everybody with PTSD don't want to cut people's heads off. We don't want to whoop everybody's ass. It doesn't work like that. It affects everybody differently, but it is the cause and the underlying effect, because it has so many sub things that it affects, secondary effects that it has physically on a person, that the education process for the world, the globe, I ain't even talking about America, if people don't understand, they're contributing to that 22-day suicide rate of veterans. Okay? So back to expectation management. Warriors. With expectation management, we put so many things on a pedestal, and we have so many expectations from everyone else. You have to step out of yourself and put on the other person's shoes and have empathy of their stupidity or ignorance. Not stupidity, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to go there this morning. Their ignorance. And people, ignorant isn't stupidity. Ignorance is you don't know. I believe there are providers who are in positions that do not know. And because you're in a position to provide care, that's what makes it so dangerous. I had to fight over a year to get the proper diagnosis and treatment from an organization whose number one thing is to take care of veterans, or no, I wasn't even a veteran yet, of warriors, soldiers who have been injured because of multiple deployments to the war zone. And they think that everything's okay. Even with a pre-diagnosis from the VA, the Army still said I was malingering. But I'm not going to go down that road this morning. I'm going to say this. I had to write notes because, you know, we forget everything. Short-term memory loss is a mother. Y'all just don't know. Expectation management. We have to have empathy for those people who have to deal with our behinds on a daily basis, because it's not easy. The emotional roller coaster, the detachment, the frustration. And I'm going to tell you people, when someone's frustrated and they're lashing out, they're not angry at you. They're frustrated. Think about it. Frustration, anger, two different things. I'm not mad at you. I'm just frustrated because you don't freaking get it. For those of you out here that don't have PTSD and you don't understand, this is what I ask of you. Put yourselves in that person's shoes. When you ramping them up and you see that they're getting ramped up, take a minute, step away. Let them count to 20, 50, 100. But if you love them, just step away. They're not going anywhere. But I'm telling you, it's a beast when you got all that stuff balled up in you and you don't have a place to get it out and to let it go. You have to go back to the things I said before about loving yourself. Because in loving yourself, presentation is part of that loving yourself. And guess what? I forgot to say this. You do deserve to get better. You do deserve to have better. You do deserve to be loved. And you do deserve all of God's bounty that he has before you. I never thought that I deserved that when I found out how messed up I was. Okay? So, people, if you don't understand people with PTSD, especially warriors that have been deployed, they carry a lot of demons. They carry a lot of issues. And they carry a lot of guilt. But I say this to you. To my warriors, there ain't no different than when we were in the military together. I got your front. I got your back. I got your side. I got you. If you need me, just shoot me a message on Messenger. I got you. Trust me. My struggle is every day. Listen, the devil alive in America. But somebody said this to me the other day. I met a stranger who broke out the word, and we were talking for 2 hours at a police station. I wasn't being arrested, don't worry, but we was having a discussion. And he said, sometimes the devil ain't doing the work. We doing it to ourselves because the devil ain't that powerful. He ain't in one place all the time, but we want to blame him for everything. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And we are. We most definitely are. So I found that in life, everyone has a calling and a mission. And being able to pay it forward is the best therapy. The best therapy. It's not just about you. It's about being able to reach out to other people. And if you can just save one life, that life you save is the best reward that you could ever get. One of the things that you have to understand is this. Is that when you love yourself, you understand that you deserve to be respected, you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be happy. That's hard when you have PTSD because you will give to everybody, even your enemies. And no one appreciates it. So that expectation management, the final point, that expectation management will allow you to have empathy for those who are filled with the devil, who are greedy, who are selfish, people who have selfish ideologies. And in that expectation management, you are expected to forgive. Forgive those people. You can listen. Forgiving and forgetting is a mug, but you have to forgive people who have hurt you, who have betrayed you, who have lied to you, who have deceived you, who have spit on you, who have cursed you. Forgive them. Forgiveness is a powerful tool, and let them wallow in their whatever it is that they want to wallow in, their guilt, their feelings, that. Because you know what? If you've hurt somebody, and let me say this for all you non-believing, don't know, don't understand folks out there. People with PTSD aren't using it as an excuse. They're not saying, I did this because I've had PTSD. It probably happened because they had PTSD. There are a lot of non-believers out there, and people think that people are malingering, that people aren't truthful, that people aren't forthcoming. I'm here to tell you, if you met me in the streets, you would never know, because I joke, I crack jokes. I'm probably funny as hell when I want to be funny. But I realized I was fooling myself because I was laughing at myself and I was crying inside. My blood pressure's so high, I should be doing a funky chicken on the floor, flocking around with like a chicken with his head cut off, because I'm ready to stroke out because I let somebody who is beneath me affect me. So understanding all that, this is for you guys that are out there that don't think you have anybody and you're doing this alone. You're not doing this alone. And I may come on here twice a week. It just depends. It depends on the response. Hell, you know what? Hell, I don't care about the response. I'm going to at least be on here at least once a week because it helps me. It helps me get the word out. And it helps me know that if I can reach one and save one, we're all one. I hope y'all have a wonderful morning. I don't know when I'm going to be on here again. But after praying last night, laying still this morning in prayer this morning, and reading a text message and listening to a song that somebody who really cared, Miss D, I thank you very much for your inspiration, your words of wisdom, and your kindness.